Welcome back to my corner of the internet, guys. I am the Lucid Dream, and on this one, I kind of fell down a rabbit hole with Long Island Audit, so we're going to take another look at one of his more recent videos. I hadn't watched a ton of his content prior to this, just because he's annoying, and I don't really want to listen to him talk, but this one I think is going to be worthwhile. I haven't watched but the first couple of minutes of it. I wanted to save it. So let's go ahead and get into it. But first and foremost, thank you to all of my channel members and subscribers. Without you, I would not be here. So as always, every day, thank you. Let's do this.
Do it.
Sir, we don't want you recording in here. I'm sorry. We're not giving you permission to record us.
You're not giving me permission?
No.
I'm just taking some pictures and video, ma'am.
Are you videoing?
Yeah, I'm taking some video, yeah.
But I don't want to be on your video.
But you weren't on the video until...
I am right now.
Because you started talking to me, ma'am, right? That doesn't make sense.
You can't videotape in here. You can't do that.
Excuse me, sir?
You can't videotape in here.
Who are you?
I'm security of the courthouse.
Let's take a step back.
No, you can't videotape in here.
You're security? Are you
Yes.
law enforcement or
Yes.
just security?
Yes, I'm law enforcement, yes.
Part of law enforcement?
Yes.
So what agency do you work for?
For the Sheriff's Department, Greenbrier County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
You can't videotape in here.
Why is that? This is a public area, sir.
You cannot videotape in here. Let's go.
Sir, this is a public area.
Hey, call a deputy.
He just told him to call a deputy for what? Let's go see if we can speak to his supervisor. So, are you a supervisor here, or
Pardon?
are you a supervisor here, sir?
I'm one of the security. What's going on?
Oh, I'm just trying to record and gather some news content, but then the other security guard.
Hey, this way. Can you send us a deputy? Right at the desk. Courthouse. We have a company over there that's
I'm suspicious. That's interesting.
What are you videoing for?
What makes me suspicious, sir?
What are you videoing for?
What makes me suspicious, sir?
Yeah.
I find it particularly funny considering the fact that the last video he said that if anyone tells him that they don't want to be on his YouTube videos, he makes an effort to blur out their faces. That woman's face was not blurred out. So, shocker. A frauditor that lies. It seems to be the only thing they're good for.
I'm not answering any more questions. So we got the deputy down here. Hopefully we can sort this all out peacefully. Excuse me, ma'am. Yeah, are you the deputy that this gentleman just called?
From the Sheriff's Office.
And can I get your name and badge number, please, sir?
Do what?
Your name and badge number, sir?
For what reason?
Because just to identify yourself to a member of the public, that's all.
No. Work from the county.
You're from the county, that's it?
Yeah, that's all you get from me.
Why would that be?
I don't know what you're using it for.
Because you're a public official, so you're a public servant. I'm just asking
You're
for your
smart,
name.
guy. Figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can take it. I need to talk to a county clerk, I think.
Okay. All right. Hi, ma'am. How are you? Yeah, I'm here to do an open records request for the county. Excuse me. Public records request. I'm sorry. No one knew what that was upstairs, so.
Are you filming right now?
Yeah, I'm taking some pictures and video. That's correct. I'm an independent journalist.
Okay. I was gonna say you can answer her. I thought maybe it was my banker.
Okay, I came down there, but it's not. Well, you have to fill out a FOIA request.
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
Do you have one here?
We don't have a form.
I could just write it on a piece of paper. That's fine. That's fine. Hi, sir. How are you?
Good.
Are you in charge of the gentleman upstairs?
Yes.
The security? Can I just get your name, sir?
Sheriff
You're the sheriff? And your name, sir?
Bruce.
Bruce. Okay. Sheriff Bruce. The security upstairs were, escalating the situation, wouldn't identify themselves to me. I'm trying to explain to them that I'm just an independent journalist gathering content for a story. They told me that that I wasn't permitted to record in publicly accessible areas, so...
Well, there are some security concerns.
Yeah, there are
with
security
that.
concerns.
Security
And
concerns.
you can't violate those.
What are the security concerns?
The security concerns with the building. You just can't videotape anywhere you want.
That's for sure. Anywhere that's publicly accessible or a public area I can record. Just like I'm doing right now.
In fact, you need to stop doing that.
I need to stop recording? No, I'm not going to. There's nothing illegal about what I'm doing here. I'm just recording.
Well, what's your name?
My first name's Sean. Can I get your name, ma'am?
Sure, it's Britt Ledway.
Oh, okay.
What's your last name?
Sheriff Bruce. I don't want to give any personal identifying information, only because I'm still...
identifying information from us.
You only gave me your first name, Bruce.
My last name's Slime.
Sir, we
What's
have
yours?
a lot of...
Actually, that is not true. Your image is actually considered personal identifiable information. It's one of the reasons you can file a privacy strike on YouTube without your name ever being mentioned. Your image is enough.
We have a lot of people who have legal problems in this building, and so it's absolutely justifiable to ask you to identify yourself.
I just told you my name is Sean. I'm working on a story. The reason why is that I don't want to compromise the story before it's published. That's the only reason. I don't want to compromise the story I'm working on before it's published.
So who are you working with?
I'm an independent journalist. That means I work for myself.
Where are you based out of?
I don't want to give any identifying information, just not to compromise my story. That's all.
Well, it's appropriate to ask you to exit the courthouse if you're not willing to identify yourself.
That is
Because of security reasons.
that is not accurate at all.
That is accurate.
This is a public building. I have a right to access the public building. How you doing today,
You have a
sir?
right to know who's in the building.
No, you don't.
Yes,
do you
we
get
do.
you get everybody's ID when they walk in the building, sir? Or is it just
Ask
because?
for it, yes.
No, that's not true at all. That would be a violation of the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution, sir.
So this is something that frauditors love to talk about, and there isn't a lot to back it up, but it appeals to a specific kind of person, so they go on about it. It is not an unreasonable search and seizure to ask for ID for security purposes inside of a building that you are seeking services of. Now, if it was, not one of these assholes would ever get on an airplane. Ever. Because you are required to show ID. You're not getting on that airplane if you don't show ID. As someone who has had to fly without ID because my purse was stolen, trust me, you don't want to go through that process. So you show your ID. Showing ID for security is one thing that they love to act like is a constitutional violation, but at the end of the day, it's not. And until the Supreme Court rules otherwise, it will remain a valid request to ask for ID for security purposes inside government buildings.
Sir. You should know that as the sheriff.
Amendment is.
Yeah, the right to search and seizure. You can't seize my identity. You can't seize my identity.
Okay, come on.
Okay, don't put your hands on me.
Well,
If I do, I'm trying to do a FOIA request. I'm trying to do a FOIA request. I have a right to access public
You
information.
need to film the building to do a FOIA request.
Yes, I do. I'm a journalist. It's called, you ever heard of the First Amendment, ma'am?
She's done.
Okay, so the First Amendment, what does it give us? The freedom of press, correct?
Gives you the freedom
So you're trampling on my freedom of press. It gives us all the freedom of press, too.
All right, come on.
Will you arrest me if I do not leave the building? We need to be clear because we need to be clear. Just want to be clear because what happens next is a federal civil rights lawsuit, ma'am. And it's...
So this is something frauditors like to do specifically to evoke an emotional response from their audience. They like to throw around the term civil rights violation, and this is not in any shape or form a case of a civil rights violation. The reason being is they use the terms civil rights and civil liberties interchangeably when they are absolutely two completely separate things. Your civil rights are your protections based on protected classes, so your race, your religion, your gender. Your civil liberties are going to be the freedoms that are granted to us under the Constitution inside the First Amendment. His civil rights are not being violated here because he is not being escorted out because of whatever his race is, whatever his gender is. whatever his nationality is, whatever his sexual orientation, whatever that might be. He is not being escorted out of the building for those reasons. This is not a civil rights discrimination case.
And it's on you.
Well, here, I'm asking you to leave. I'm giving you
Can I get your title?
to leave.
Can I get your title? And then I will leave.
I'm asking you to leave, please.
So if I do not leave, you will arrest me.
Yes.
Can I get your name and badge number, sir?
Well, keep it up and you'll see it on the criminal report. Keep going.
Am I not making an attempt to leave, sir?
Slowly, but yeah.
Okay. Are you going to tell me to run?
No?
Okay, great. So I will make my way.
You're going to hit the wall.
I will make my way.
It's kinda hard
So
to
your
see
name
where
is
you're going.
Sergeant Bennett?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see where you're going.
You work for the Sheriff's Department here?
Yes, sir.
Why are you violating my constitutional rights, Sergeant Bennett?
I'm just asking you to leave, sir.
I have a right to access this building. This is a public building, sir.
I'm not giving you a lawful order to leave because you were making everybody uneasy and you can't allow...
Uneasy by
video.
recording?
Yep. Keep going.
It's a First Amendment protected activity, sir.
Keep going.
It's a First Amendment protected activity, so you're making a big mistake here. You're opening up your county to a federal civil rights lawsuit.
Where are you from?
That doesn't matter.
You know, he continues to repeat himself over and over about a civil rights lawsuit. And at the end of the day, it is all smoke and mirrors for the audience. Not one of these assholes has ever taken a municipality to court for a civil rights lawsuit and won. Of the lawsuits actually filed, they are almost always laughed out of court. And because they're frivolous. So much of this is disingenuous and frivolous and intentional misinformation to misguide people into believing that freedom means that you can do and say whatever you want, whenever you want, and that is just not fact. That is not the way our Constitution is written. That is not the way the Bill of Rights is written. That is not what freedom means. If that were the case, you take freedom of speech. Freedom of speech would have no restrictions. And it does. If you want constitutional protection under freedom of speech, there are certain things you cannot say. You may physically be able to say them, but you will not be protected by the First Amendment if you do. There are restrictions, intentional restrictions in our Constitution and in our Bill of Rights, and these guys are feeding misinformation to generations of people, making them believe that, they can do what they want, and that is just not fact.
That doesn't matter, sir.
Well, you asked me about my questions, and I can...
The United States Constitution...
You asked him about...
The United States Constitution doesn't end in West Virginia, sir.
No, you're going about this all stupid. You're asking me for my name and my unit number, everything. Well, what's yours? What's your name?
My
Where
name
are
is
you from?
Sean, sir.
Where are you from?
Where are you from? Where do you live?
Like Greenbrier County. What do you think? Because I'm done my deputy in Greenbrier County. Where do you live?
Gotcha.
Where do you live?
So you're kicking me out of a public building, aren't you, Sergeant?
Where do you live?
Back up, please. Back up.
I'm not touching you.
Back up.
It's public space, remember?
Back up.
Public space.
Back up.
Public space.
Get out of my face. I'm
Public
walking.
space.
Get out of my face.
Public space. Keep walking.
Think you're real tough, don't you?
Go that way.
You're going to regret this.
Okay.
You're going to regret it.
It's all good.
I promise you that.
This way, please, sir.
You just violated my constitutional rights.
How?
I have freedom of press. I'm a journalist. I have a right to access this building. Arnett is the security.
Actually, you know what? I need to see your ID right now, please.
For what?
I'm investigating the incident.
What incident? What's the
They
crime?
called because
What's
you
your
just made-
reasonable, articulable suspicion that I've committed a crime, sir?
Suspicious person inside the courthouse making everybody uneasy.
That's not a crime.
Give me your license.
That's not a
right
crime,
now.
sir. Can I
License
speak to your
right now.
supervisor, please?
License. You just talked to him. He was a sheriff. License, please.
Go get the sheriff, sir.
No, license.
I didn't commit a crime, sir. You just said I
License.
didn't commit a crime.
License.
What crime have I committed?
For one, you're making everybody uneasy.
That's not a crime,
I
sir.
didn't say it's a crime. I said it's an incident. I'm investigating an incident.
But you need reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime to demand ID from me, sir.
No. If I get caught on anything,
Don't put your hands in your pockets.
if I get caught on
Sir,
anything,
my hand is not in my pocket.
I said
Please
they're in
calm
your
down.
pockets.
Please calm down.
Listen.
I went into a courthouse. I don't have any weapons on me.
listen.
That's a good, real investigative work you're doing there.
When anybody
I just was in a courthouse.
calls for cops, that requires an investigation. And
Sir,
part of my
he's trying
job-
to demand ID from me. Please, Sheriff, let him know He's trying to demand ID from me, or he's going to arrest me.
You're out of the courthouse now, so...
Yeah, so go back to work, do what you need to do. You're not getting my ID.
If you come back in again...
You're not getting my ID. Yeah, for trespassing, correct? You're trespassing me from the building?
No, you just need to identify yourself.
So I can't enter in the courthouse without identifying myself? Is that what you're saying?
Now, that's correct.
No one else does it. Why do I have to do it?
You are refusing to. You're the one video.
Because it's a First Amendment protected activity. Sheriff, you are going to regret this, Sheriff. You are making a big mistake. And you were never going to get my ID. None of you were.
Emotional damage.
I feel like that was a rather satisfying door slam. I wish him luck with his federal civil rights lawsuit, and I look forward to being able to laugh when it's filed and it's thrown out of court. Last up, we're going to listen to a little bit of an update from Chile. I hope you enjoy it.
Hello, world. My name is Chile Castro. Today, you're hearing this will be May 30th, 2024. I'm a journalist who's been wrongfully imprisoned in the Clark County Detention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. I was convicted of obstruction for filming a cop. The cop said he felt unsafe. The judge, one Ann Zimmerman, used to be married to Lieutenant Zimmerman of Las Vegas Metro Police Department. In an unprincipled and overtly biased decision, she decided to find me guilty and sentence me to jail for 6 months. I've been in this dungeon for 2.5 months. So, as we proceed down the line, the next step is July 10th. There is the appeal that will be heard before Judge Levitt in the district court. And if Judge Levitt doesn't approve it, then we will go to the Nevada State Supreme Court. Now, I am not guilty of any crime at all whatsoever. I have not broken the law. I haven't broken the law at all whatsoever. I'm completely innocent, and I'm locked in jail. The crime of filming is not a crime. And a cop saying he feels unsafe is an extension of the 1968 case called Terry versus Ohio. OTVO. Write that down. Put it in the comments. OTVO. Overturned Terry versus Ohio. I wish I was there so I could say Coke Dog and Carl. So this guy Carl, he sent me a few letters.
I think Chile is legitimately going crazy at this point. He is starting to come unglued.
Carl, thanks, man. The letters you sent me have been inspiring. You guys feel free to write me anytime. I really appreciate the letters. I know that everything is going to go a lot slower with me in the dungeon. I know that. But the letters that you send me, and yesterday I got an eye care gift package from one of you guys out there. It never tells me the name on it, but let me tell you something. I sure do appreciate it. Thank you so much. You know, what I've been doing with my time is spending and studying. I've been studying the Supreme Court, the history of the United States, the presidents, the states, and putting together a new game, a new board game that you can play called U.S. History Constitutional Law Scholar. And the game I've developed, there's nothing like it on the market. So I've been spending my time.
So is this a new board game, or is he just changed the name of the old one? Oh my gosh. What?
As constructively as possible, because let me explain to you what this dungeon system is like so you understand. They just lock you to a metal bed, is what they do, for 18 hours a day. Sometimes you get off for 4 hours, sometimes you get off for 5, but very rarely. You're pretty much stuck on this metal sheet with a 1-inch button over it. That does not teach antisocial men, and some of them are criminal, does not teach them how to change their behavior. And so that's the other part of the thing I'm working on. I'm going to develop an artificial intelligence learning box for jails and for prisons. Because the people around me now that I'm in medium security are in here for murder, attempted murder, kidnapping, armed robbery. The Clark County Detention Center really put me in a dangerous position. I have written to them 4 times and asked them why I'm in such a dangerous position. And they wrote me back and said that the classification was correct, that I'm in the right dorm. I disagree. I don't understand why they did this. Unless, of course, there's somebody pulling some strings from a higher position, which makes me think about that. But while I have been in here, what I've noticed, these people who are in prison for murder, armed robbery, kidnapping, that they've been in prison since they were 16, 17, 18 years old, and they were never educated, ever. Now, while I was in here, I reread John Locke's thesis, Essays in Understanding Humanity. And so to the person who sent me that book, thank you very much. And I've also reread Montesquieu's book, Spirit of Laws. I'm telling you, when I get out of here, I'll be able to teach you guys. I'm a walking encyclopedia now. But the reason I'm saying these things is...
A walking encyclopedia means absolutely nothing if you don't understand what you're repeating. It means nothing. Especially in the absence of critical thinking and morals. It means absolutely nothing. And do I think he is a walking encyclopedia? No, absolutely not. Do I think that he loves to listen to himself talk? Yeah, just a little bit.
Because they put these men in prison from the time they were 17, 18, and yeah, they did some crimes, they did some stuff. And then they put them in prison for 10 or 15 years, and then they got out and they did the exact same crime again. That's because they didn't get an education. They were just punished for 10 years. Now, you may agree that people need to be punished, but what you may not agree with is when they get out, that your sister, your brother, your best friend, your lover becomes the victim of that crime recidivation. So when someone serves 10 years for kidnapping or armed robbery, when they get out 10 years later and they haven't gotten an education, the crime they're going to perform next could be against you. It could be against your mother, your brother. It could be against your best friend, or worse, the closest person to you, your wife or your husband, your girlfriend or your boyfriend. And then what happens? Then what do you say? Then the cops come to you and say, oh, we're so sorry, the system failed you as your dead husband's on the ground. No, the system failed, period. It didn't fail you. It failed, period. Because there's no education. There's no one will get better without education. In Essays in Understanding Humanity, written by John Locke, it says in the book, show me the character of a man and I'll show you his education. A man is 9/10 education and 1/10 personality. You are who you are because how much you have in your brain.
So strictly from a philosophical point, Chile is really barking up the wrong tree. The very simple fact is we have highly educated criminals all over the world. Education or lack thereof does not in itself predict criminality. That is false, and it will always be false. So education is not going to be solely the answer to reform. People make conscious decisions. When you are released from jail, if you know what the consequences were from your first offense and you go out and you offend again, knowing what the consequences were, that is a conscious decision, your education aside. That could be someone with a doctorate or that could be someone with a 5th grade education. It doesn't matter. If they make the conscious decision to offend again, they have to take responsibility for that. Education may in some ways contribute to criminality when it comes to the statistics of who is more likely to offend in certain categories. But we have highly educated criminals all over the world. Education doesn't matter nearly as much as he's trying to play it out to. But again, he likes to pretend that he's a constitutional law scholar, and he is, as always, attempting to sound wise for his followers when he really doesn't understand what he's talking about.
Now, that doesn't mean people can't be impulsive. That doesn't mean people can't be criminal in nature. I mean, if you go back to Rutherford B. Hayes, he has a quote that I read, and it said that the United States is supposed to be for the people, by the people, but instead it's for corporations and by corporations. And so you can track it down. The underwear that I'm wearing, inside these little cheap, bright orange underwear that I'm wearing, it says Victory Apparel out of Bangladesh. That's what it says. Victory Apparel out of Bangladesh. Guarantee you that is a holding company that goes into another company that goes into another company. And if you track down Victory Apparel, it ends up being one of the executives of this dungeon, or a judge's brother, or a judge, or a DA, or a county commissioner who owns Victory Apparel that is selling these cheap-ass underwear to the jail, and they're making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. I'm sorry, I keep calling it Victory Apparel. It's called Victory Supply Inc. It's not called...
So, out of just random curiosity, I went and looked, and the CEO of this company is actually a man who graduated business school from Ohio State over 35 years ago. He has worked in many, many large companies in many different capacities, and this company specifically has over 2,000 clients. So, the chances of this man being related to somebody at the Clark County Detention Center is, slim to none. It's pretty damn small.
Victory apparel. It's called Victory Supply Inc. It's got a cheesy American flag on the V, done really poorly, and then at the top of one of the V's is a flame like the top of the Statue of Liberty. That's how you know it's totally a scam, because you know that they're jail underwear made in Bangladesh. Rutherford B. Hayes said it, and by the way, I'm not a big fan of his presidency with his running mate, Vice President William Wheeler. They wheeled and dealed their way into the presidency because the other guy won. They lost the election, but they gave it to Rutherford B. Hayes because he was going to remove the troops out of the South and into Reconstruction. So this is basic history stuff. But what we're seeing is what his quote is coming true. This is for corporations and by corporations. I want to know where Victory Apparel goes back to. That's what I'd like to know. Who really owns that company? Who's making the money from it? That's what I'd like to know. Because I guarantee you the vending companies here, like I said, you guys sent me an iCare gift package yesterday. Really appreciate it. The iCare gift package that you spend $40 or $50 on, they send me about $15 worth of garbage. Really low grade food that I trade for bottled water. And I do 2-day fast here all the time. I'll eat 2 days without eating. I'll eat for a day or two, and 2 days without eating for a day or two. But the company that's shifted in, it belongs to a county commissioner, to a judge, to a prosecutor, to a jailing executive. That's who it belongs to. It's a scam. It's like the big pharma scam in here. They arrest you for some possession of some chemical, then they put you in here, they make you switch over to the big pharma substitute, and then when you get out, they mandate that you continue to take the big pharma substitute, okay? The big pharma substitute chemical. Now, how does that work? The big pharma representative pays for the politician's campaign. Then the big pharma representative writes the bill that says that if you go to the dungeon and you're taking meth and you'll substitute that for methadone or Suboxone or Subutex, then you serve a month or two, but by that time they switched you over to big pharma substitute. Now who's on the hook for that now designer big pharma medication? It's you and me. It's the taxpayer. This whole jail, everything about it, everything about the system is a scam for a very tiny bit of elitists at the top who are the owners of these corporations. So I'm just trying to put it into a microcosm for you so you understand exactly how much of a scam that I'm in. And as far as me being wrongfully imprisoned, when I get out of here, I will take every single legal step I can to hold accountable the people who have wrongfully imprisoned me. And it's completely wrong. And, you know, by the way, hundreds of you guys sent me copies of the petitions that you sent in to Ann Zimmerman, and I hope she got 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 petitions saying how wrong, unjust, and biased she is as a person. She's wrong, and she'll always be wrong for what she did. I've had lawyers from all across the country comment to my friends and family that this is an absolute miscarriage of justice. So hopefully I don't get locked down again for 18 hours. We were just locked down for 18 hours straight when we sat on a metal rack all day. But I hope that I don't.
So not only is he complaining about the food and the lack of probiotics in the jail, he is now complaining that his panties are not from Victoria's Secret. First world problems, I tell you. You know what? Thank you so much to Tones Overthinks It for making me my new logo. I am going to use this every single time I do a voiceover. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Let me know what you would like to see, and I will catch you on the next one.